Hey, this is my comic pull list from March 16th, 2016. I normally do my comic videos on Saturday because that's really the first time I have to sit down and go through everything and kind of organize my thoughts. But I'm a day late today because I was just too busy rewatching Season 5 of Game of Thrones and watching Season 2 of Daredevil, which is awesome! But enough about that, let's talk some comics. Okay, so this didn't come out this week, but I forgot to mention Arrow the Dark Archer issues 4 and 5. So we learn more about Malcolm Merlyn's past, going back to when he was 19 and recruited from the Air Force by a group called The Hidden. Honestly, we still haven't learned much about what's going on in the story yet, but it's still entertaining, so I'm sticking with it. Next, it's Lucifer, number 4. So as they attempt to escape hell, Lucifer and Gabriel find something interesting. Meanwhile, Majin and Azazel have an enlightening tete-a-tete. Another good issue for what is turning out to be a really good comic. Next, it's Kanan, number 12. Loose ends get wrapped up as this is the end of this series. I really like it. I'm sad that it's ending, but I know there's only so many flashbacks you can do. Still, I'll hate to see this one go. Next, it's Lords of the Jungle, issue number 1. Now, having been a fan of Sheena and Tarzan as a kid, I was looking forward to this comic. Now, you may be asking how it is that Sheena and Tarzan can be in a comic together, since technically they're from different time periods. Well, this first issue kind of explains that. There's not really much other story going on, but you know, you got to get the setup out of the way first. It's interesting, and I'll stick with it for a few more issues anyway. Next, it's Doctor Who, the 8th Doctor, issue number 5. I have finally caught up on this just in time for the final issue. The premise of this comic is that the 8th Doctor returns to a house that he has in Wales. Yeah, the Doctor has a house, who knew? And he goes back to retrieve something and finds Josie, this young artist, squatting in the abandoned house. So of course they go on a series of adventures together, and the cool thing is they're actually they're interconnected, which you really find out how in this last issue. And there's also a big surprise reveal, which I didn't see coming. So I hate that this is the last issue of this since I finally gotten into it. But it may come back. And in the meantime, the 4th Doctor comic starts next week. And so I'm really looking forward to that because Tom Baker was like my doctor. He's like my favorite doctor. And finally, I'm going to talk about sex criminals. Now, I was thinking about doing a whole video just on this series, but you know, there are a ton of videos out there about it, and I had a relatively short pull list this week, so why not give it a quick review? Now, from the title, you might have preconceptions of what you think this is about. You'd be totally wrong. The story centers around Susie, who's a young librarian with a troubled past. At a party, she meets John, who works for a bank and is equally dysfunctional. So the two hit it off and hook up. And as things reach their climax, so to speak, they learn that they share the same superpower. And they hatch a plan to use this superpower to help save the library that Susie works at from the bank that John works for that is about to foreclose on it. Now, what that superpower is, you'll just have to read the comic to find out. Now, the story of this comic is pretty much told through comedy and fourth wall breaking, and frank talk about sex. Lots of frank talk about sex. But it's never judgy or preachy. It's just laid out there in a matter-of-fact style because it's part of who these characters are. And the artistic style of it is really awesome. I've never quite seen a comic like it before. It's definitely one of my new favorites. See you guys later.